if you work are very important. They shows that you are earning salary, and therefore they are going to support you in your visa application. So you need to put this into consideration. It is very, very beautiful people. Welcome back to our YouTube channel, and thank you so much for joining today. If this is your first time here, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and support the movement. Please like this video for us so that YouTube can equally tell your neighbor that there is something very important here for you to utilize. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about documents to apply for a visitor visa to Canada. Yes, for a couple of weeks now, I've been getting these messages inbox of from subscribers asking me to bring out a list of documents they can use to apply for a visitor visa to Canada. But before I continue with the video to give you the list of all the documents you need to apply for the visitor's visa to Canada, I would first of all want you to understand what a visitor visa is. If you didn't know, a visitor visa is a visa that you can use to visit Canada. And this visa, there are three ways you can use to go about this particular visa. It is a short stay visa, not really like a short stay visa, but with this visa you can live in Canada for 6 months maximum. If you have not changed the visa after this 6 months duration, before this 6 months duration, then you have to exit Canada. But if you change the visa after the 6 months, you can then stay permanently in Canada. However, there are procedures to follow which I'm going to explain to you. First, remember, this visitor visa, you can use it to go, or you can enter Canada as a tourist. In this case, you do not need any document from anywhere. You just need to write a letter to explain why you are going as a tourist and the things you are going to be doing. And equally go as an invitee, or someone in Canada can invite you and write an invitation letter for you, and you would then use this invitation letter to immigrate to Canada or to visit the person in Canada. It can be a parent, a family member, or anybody. Then another thing you can do or to enter Canada with the visitor visa is if you are going through a conference. This is the most renowned way, or a majority of people are using this particular technique to enter using the visitor's visa. Now with the visitor visa, you can change it to a working permit. Okay, but I want to assure you that it is not going to be biscuit. It is not going to be easy to change the visitor visa to a working permit, because the employers have a particular way they are going to go about it. They have some particular things they are checking to see if you actually have them. And again, the government needs to take a look at this to consider a lot of factors before changing this visa. Again, understand that when you change the visitor's visa, it is now going to be more valuable. But again, we are talking about the documents here. So if you want to know more about this, make sure you watch my other videos on the YouTube channel to understand what actually the visitor's visa is all about. Canada as a visitor, there are a list of documents you need to put together. In this remaining section of the video, I'm going to list them to you one after the other, and I'm going to talk about some very important things you need to consider before you move to Canada, okay, as a visitor. The very first document I want to talk about is a copy of your international passport. Remember, this international passport you are using, or you intend to use for your visitor visa application, has to be like valid for a long time. What I mean here is, do not use a passport that is left just 1 year to apply for a visitor visa. The reason is because the higher the duration of your passport, the more they are going to give you the visitor visa. What do I mean here? If your passport is left 2 years, they are going to give you a visitor visa for 2 years. If your passport is left 5 years, they are going to give you a visitor visa for 5 years. And that is why when you collect your visitor visa, you are going to see somewhere it is written multiple entry, which means that you can use it, enter Canada, exit Canada, enter Canada, exit Canada, till that visa expires after 5 or 10 years. Some people get it for 8 years plus, some get it for 3.5. But if your passport is left 2 years, they will give it for 2 years. If it's left 1 year, they will give it for 1 year. If it's left 6 months, they will give it for 6 months. So it is your own disadvantage. Then we are done with the passport. Let's take a look at the other section. If you have old visas in your international passport plays a vital role in your visitor visa application. The reason is because when you show old visa, it shows that you have travel experience. And now remember, you are going as a visitor, which means that you have to return back to your home country after your visit to Canada. So if the embassy sees that you have old visas in your passport, that is a very good step for you. Old visas in your passport contribute at least 10% to 20%, but some people will tell you that it doesn't mean anything. It means a lot, though it is not like a primary factor to guarantee you the visa. You can still have 200 visas in your passport and your visitor visa is rejected if you do not document it correctly. So that is something you should know. Now let's take a look at the flight itinerary, which is another document you need. This is a document to prove that you have paid your flight, or the itinerary in this case is not necessarily the paid flight. So you need to put this into consideration. Now, when you are applying for the visitor visa, make sure you estimate, you already know the duration or the time interval you want to travel and when you are coming back. Your itinerary has to carry this information. It is very, very mandatory. If the visa officer doesn't see this, it is going to be a problem for you. And for where to book flights, you can go on many booking sites and book. There are even some sites that, I think booking.com, you can book without payment, like that. Then you also have the chance to book and maybe cancel the flight, something like that. Even the accommodation, there is also what we call pay slips. For example, you cannot be going on a visit to another country and you are telling the officer that you are working and you are going for a visit. No. If you are a worker, during your visitor visa application, you need to supply another document which I'm going to talk about very soon. Okay, but your pay slips, if you work, are very important. They shows that you are earning salary and therefore they are going to support you in your visa application. So you need to put this into consideration. It is very, very important. Then another thing I want to talk about is your cover letter. Your cover letter is part of, it's what we call statement of purpose or motivation letter. It's still the same thing. Your cover letter is going to now explain to the visa officer that this is me, my name is this, I'm from this, I want to travel to Canada to do this from this duration to this duration, and of course this is what I want to do, and this is what the trip is going to benefit me when I return back to my home country. You have to explain this, and of course explain with proofs, because if you are saying you want to move to Canada for holidays, you have to tell them where you want to visit. If you are saying you are going for touristic purposes, you have to show proof of that, right? If you are going, you want to attend a conference, a marriage or something, you need to show proof of that. So the flight, I already talked about flight itinerary, and now the cover letter is going to explain all of this. If you don't give a breakdown of what you want to do, where you, for example, those of you who want to migrate as tourists, you must be able to tell them the tourist destinations you are going to be visiting. It is very important. And now let me shock you. If you apply for a visitor's visa, 1 month you don't get reply, 2 months you don't get reply, 3 months you don't get reply, there is high chance that you are definitely going to get the visitor's visa, but we do not know when. Another thing is, before applying for the visitor visa, make sure you check how many days it's going to take for them to process the visa from your home country. Now we are done with the other documents that you need for the visitor visa application. Now let's take a look at the next document, which is the hotel booking. Well, a lot of people, they say, Milton, how do I book a hotel? Where do I book? If you want to book, do anything hotel booking, that's your accommodation. Because if you are going for a visit or maybe for a short stay, understand, you are telling them that you want to go and stay in Canada for 7 days, 2 weeks, 1 month. Where are you going to be staying? You need to show them where, the visa officers, where you are going to be living. And in that case, you need to book a hotel. And to book it, you have to go to booking.com. That is where you have to do your booking. Well, with booking.com, there may be other sites which I don't know, but booking.com is the best I can recommend. You can create an account there and book. And it's possible to book without paying. Then, after a certain duration, you can even cancel the booking. It's possible. But hey, don't cancel without maybe something from them. But if you see that your money is going to go, why not? This is just to show that you have an accommodation where you are going to stay. So I don't think it is really a bigger problem. Another thing I want to talk about is the bank statement, which is the proof of funds. Now I'm going to talk more about this in another video. Employer's reference letter. Remember, I would always say this and I'm still saying it again. If you want to go for a visit in a particular country, please make sure you are a worker. Even if you are not a worker, make sure that you work somewhere and make sure that you are on holidays. If you are not on holidays, it's a very big problem because you cannot abandon your job and you are going for a visit. No, it doesn't work that way. If you tell the visa officer this, they will never give you the visa. So make sure that you have a statement. They call it employer reference letter, or a reference letter, or a recommendation letter from your employer. And this recommendation letter should state a lot of things. Or you can still call it maybe your leave letter. You understand? This document is similar to your leave letter. If you are getting a leave letter from your job, fine. But if you are doing the two, you should get a recommendation letter to say that you have been working with us and you want to go for holidays. Then the other letter now that you need to show to your the visa officer from your employer is what we call the leave letter. You need to supply a leave letter to show that I'm working with these people. This is my matricule. This is my name. I want to go on leave from this date to this date. I will be back. Then I will continue with my job. This is how a leave letter is supposed to look like. You have to explain to them. Tell them the purpose of your trip to Canada and of course when you are going to return and continue with your job. Another thing I want to make mention of here is the pay slips. If you are supplying those pay slips, you should make sure that the pay slips are valid for at least, that's pay slips from the last 5 months, 4 or 5 or 6 months. The minimum is 4 months, but I will recommend 6 months. That's to say, if you are applying for the visa today, your pay slips from yesterday backwards, you have to supply them for 4, 5 or 6 months. It's important to do that, okay? Then remember, those pay slips has to carry the company's details, company's letterhead, logo or signature or whatever, plus everything, all right, sign stamps and everything. Any document that is coming from your company must carry this information. It is very, very important. I talked about your cover letter already, which is a motivation or reference letter. Now let's talk about the fee. I'm going to talk about in another video. I'm going to talk about the fee in another video. So these are basically the documents you need for the visitor visa application. Then again, some people were asking me if they can actually move to Canada without an invitation on visitor's visa. Yes, like I said, it's possible. You can go as a tourist, and in this case you do not need any letter. You just need to write a letter to explain that you are going as a tourist and this is where I'm going to visit, this is where I'm going to visit on this day, this is where I'm going to visit on this day, and you are cool to go. Then again, another thing, a part of the working, I talked about how to get a let me say a job, all right, or maybe change your visitor's visa to a working permit. It is also possible to change your visitor visa to a refugee status, like go in as a visitor, then you seek Odoro. If you don't know the meaning of Odoro, comment below so I can let you know what it means. You can go in there and ask for Odoro in case you have proofs to back up. Remember, if you are telling them you need Odoro, you should be having pictures of so many things that can fight for you. Those of you who know what Odoro is, you already understand what I mean. So please, this is the information you need, and many more will follow very soon. Like I said, the video for proof of funds and how to show it is going to be in another video. So make sure you keep watching till we meet again in another one. Peace.